I love floors. They stop me falling into the void. But you know what's even cooler? A floor that can lead to another floor. That's not what I was supposed to be doing. Hell yeah. Hidden staircase. Except this one is in Java, and it's tiny. It's actually 3 by 3 blocks. We close it behind us, and it looks kinda clean, kinda not. There's some gaps, but we can cover those. And there we go. The only thing is you can see a piston and a target block, but I don't mind that because, you know, it still kind of blocks it up. And if we remove all the blocks around it, we'll be able to see just how small it really is. So here is the entire staircase in all its glory. And our input is this bit of redstone here. So we just power that with the lever. And everything goes into its place. And then we pull it again and it goes down. And it's pretty quick. But one-wide staircases are for chumps. Because this one, you can just mirror. Because it's only on one side of the pistons, and you can make a 2-wide staircase. So all we did was copy the redstone to the other side. So when we do the tutorial, it's just going to be the resources for one side of it, and the space needed etc for one side, but then you just copy that over to the other side, and you get the 2-wide version. Okay, if you want to skip the explanation of how this works, go to the timestamp on screen. But how does it work? And if we look at this version, this is stretched out just so you can see everything. We can sort of see what the piston's doing. So firstly, we have this single piston which pushes that block up to there. That's powered by this block with a redstone on it. Then we have a double extender. So our input will power this first piston to push these up to here. And then we need to power this top piston. So that's done actually diagonally. So we power this target block diagonally above it, because in Java Edition, if we get a block here, power it and it's diagonally above this piston. If we update it, it goes up, which is really weird. But we use that by powering this target block with this redstone, and that gets delayed, so it's powered from this repeater into this block with redstone that goes up to here and powers that target block. And again, it also powers this one at the back. But then we also have another repeater going around, and that powers this redstone, which powers this block, and this powers this piston, which gets pushed out to here. So that's how we get our 3 blocks pushed up. And the way we power these 2 pistons is we use this observer above the repeater, and that will go off after this redstone, which will push these pistons out quickly to push this piston to here. And then when this repeater and redstone turns off, 1 tick of delay later from this observer, these pistons will get powered again, which pulls the piston back next to them. This is stretched out just so you can see everything. So you'll notice with the double extender, like yes, it will turn off and pull the block down, but then this piston will get pulled to here, and we still have to power it. So that's what this observer in the middle does. Again, after that repeater turns off, this observer gets set off sideways, which powers that piston for a second and pulls the block back down. So that's how everything works in all of its glory. So how do you build it? So resource wise, we look at this chest, we just need 4 redstone dust, 2 redstone repeaters, 2 observers, a target block, and 6 sticky pistons. You also need some blocks to put your redstone on, and the blocks used in your staircase. What about the space we need? Well, as mentioned, it's a 3 by 3 area, and it's 5 blocks high, including the floor that it's coming out of. So you just go 4 blocks below that, and you've got all the redstone covered. So firstly, if we go to the left side, we go block, block, and that's our bottom stair. Now if we go behind that, we have a piston on the middle, and a piston above that as well. With a block on top, that's our second stair. Then next to that, we do a piston aiming upwards with another block, that's our third stair. So we'll destroy these blocks above, because these are the ones that get pushed up to here. Now for our last piston, we're going to go on the right side and under the floor. We'll do 2 sticky pistons and then 1 aiming up, and then there's a block above it. which is going to get pushed up to here and pulled back. And our input is at the back left, so we go here behind this double extender and we do a block with redstone on top. Then we do a block with a repeater on 2 ticks, so this makes the redstone aim away from this piston because we want it to power this one, not this one. That goes into a block with a redstone on top, and then we just pull that up with another redstone to power this piston, and then our target block goes next to this block to power the double extender's top piston when it goes up. Next, we're going to go round the square again with a repeater on another 2 ticks. That goes into a block, and the reason we want this to be a block instead of just a block with redstone on top is because we need to power this bottom piston to push this piston out before some other stuff goes off, because otherwise it gets updated by redstone here and we'll just push the blocks up before it gets pushed out. So that's why we power this bottom piston, and it'll actually get set off a bit before the top one. Talking of the top one, the way we power that is with an observer above the repeater going into a block. Now this might be a bit awkward to place, so we'll destroy this bottom stair for a second, and we do a observer aiming from this repeater to the middle piston. And then finally we just put redstone on this block and we put our stair back. And this has to be a block that can be powered by redstone. And that is the entire door done. So the way you input is you just send any signal into this redstone, and we do a lever, and it all works. So if we just get double the resources, and we place in our pistons, like so. And then just copy the tutorial for the last side, but copy it on this side. And our input is just at the back middle here. Then when we turn this on, we have a 2-wide staircase now. And this is still probably the smallest 2-wide staircase you can make, because it only sticks out as much as the pistons. I mean, maybe if you did slime in the middle, you could make it a bit smaller. But there we go. And you can just infinitely expand this as a staircase downwards, like so, and it will still all be hidden away, except for this target block and piston. And okay, that's all there is to this staircase. I think it's one of the coolest builds I've done, just because it's like so tiny. And the fact that you can just mirror it into a 2-wide one really easily. It only sticks out as much as the pistons. Like, the bottom is where the bottom piston is. And you can also clean up the look, because here you can see everything. You just put some blocks around the back, like so. And obviously you don't want to block off your input. And there you go. It's pretty clean looking. You can't really see any stuff going out the back. There's not just an ugly gap. It all looks like it's meant to be there. Now, if you want to use a button instead of a lever, you're going to need a couple of droppers. So not dispensers, droppers, a hopper, comparator, and 2 repeaters. If you're only doing the 1-wide version, you can get away with 1 repeater, but if you're doing 2-wide, you need 2 repeaters, or to use a specific item in a dropper. So what we do is we go to our input, and this works for either the 2-wide or the 1-wide version, and we do a repeater going in, then we do a block, then we do a dropper aiming upwards, a dropper aiming across, hopper aiming into the bottom dropper, comparator coming out of the top dropper, aiming into that repeater, and then we put a random item in here. And that will power it. And then if we put a repeater into either side of the top dropper, and we power it from a button, this will now toggle between being on and off from a button, so that means you can have a button on top and a button below, and you can always turn it on or off. And you could also get creative and use an observer or something to have sort of a hidden trigger, or maybe something new like a skulk sensor. There we go. You can just quickly trigger it to be open or closed. And regarding what I said about items, the reason we used a repeater coming out of it is because the signal strength is only 1 redstone, so if you're doing the 2-wide version, it wouldn't actually go to both of them. But if I put a wooden sword in there, something that can't be stacked, then the signal is actually 2. So if we put it right next to it, like so, and we put our sword in, then everything gets powered, as before. Alright, hope you enjoyed this. I've been Night, and I'll see you in the next one. Man, I'm really bad at this YouTube thing. I should have split this into like 2 videos of a 1 wide and a 2 wide, instead of just giving away the secret that they're just the same thing. Oops.